You're listening to the Small Business Accelerator podcast, accelerating success, one founder at a time.
With your hosts, Roger Bryant and Sarah Wilson.
We support small business owners, the little guys. We're here to help you win in today's landscape.
Join us each week as we reveal powerful strategies for small business owners that save you time and money.
Because we believe every small business owner should have access to Fortune 500 style strategies without breaking the bank.
Subscribe now on Spotify and Apple Podcasts to accelerate your small business success.
Hitting those sales quotas. It can feel like an uphill battle sometimes.
Well, absolutely.
It's like you're drowning in tasks and just can't seem to catch a break.
Actually, you know what's crazy? There's this study I saw recently, and it said only 34% of sales teams are actually hitting their targets.
Wow, that's pretty low.
Yeah. Makes you wonder, right? Like, what are they doing that the rest of us aren't?
Right.
So that's kind of what we're going to dig into today, this idea of building a nonstop sales team using automation. We've got this in-depth report we're going to pull from.
Okay.
And even an online course description that caught my eye.
Yeah.
Both kind of promising the same thing.
Yeah.
Less stress, more sales.
I think what's really interesting is how both of these sources tap into like the emotional side of sales, you know?
Oh, yeah.
They talk about burnout, which, I mean, who hasn't felt that at some point, right?
Totally.
And that feeling of being swamped with admin work, like you're drowning in paperwork instead of actually, selling. And then the course description, it goes even further. It talks about like wanting more family time, more balance. It's almost like they're speaking directly to our deepest desires.
It's true. It's not just about hitting those quotas. It's about having a life outside of work, too,
Absolutely.
Which brings me to this point from the report that really blew my mind. They're saying that using automation, salespeople could free up a huge chunk of their time, like a significant amount. And that got me thinking, what if that 34% we talked about earlier, what if that represented the amount of time you could actually spend selling instead of getting bogged down with all that other stuff?
It's a total game changer, right? It's not about robots taking over. It's about, strategically using technology to clear the path, letting you focus on what matters most, connecting with those customers.
And closing deals, of course.
Exactly.
Speaking of which, both sources, they really hammer this point home. Clearly defined roles. Makes sense, though, right? Less confusion, more focus. Everyone knows exactly what they're responsible for. And it creates this sense of, like, synergy within the team, like a well-oiled machine where everyone's working in sync towards that common goal. And it's interesting because both sources, they kind of go beyond just saying automate everything.
Oh, how so?
Well, they talk about the importance of intentionality. It's not just randomly implementing tools. It's about designing these like smart systems. And the online course actually has a whole module dedicated to this, like mapping out your workflow and figuring out what actually needs to be automated.
So it's like taking a step back and looking at the big picture before diving into the tech.
Exactly.
Makes sense. Okay, so what are we talking about here? Tech-wise. I mean, the report throws out a bunch of stuff. CRM systems, automating how leads are distributed, analytics so you can actually measure what's working. They even mention AI, which kind of feels futuristic, but also a little scary.
Oh, I know. But here's why you should care about all of this. Imagine this. A CRM that gives you like a 360-degree view of your customer.
Okay, yeah.
Their purchase history, their preferences, all their interactions. It's like having a cheat sheet to personalize every single pitch.
That would be pretty amazing.
Right. And then think about automating that lead distribution. The right salesperson gets connected with the right lead at the right time, every time. No more missed opportunities.
Sounds like a recipe for success.
It really is.
And speaking of success, one of the steps in the online course that stood out to me, it was all about picking the right tools.
Seems obvious, but it's so crucial.
Right. And the report actually backs this up. It emphasizes how important it is to choose software that fits your team and your budget.
Because honestly, poorly chosen tech is a huge roadblock. I mean, the report has a whole section dedicated to implementation challenges.
Yeah, I saw that. So it's not just about buying the shiniest new toy. It's about understanding how to actually use it effectively.
Exactly. And both sources, they really drive this point home. Training is non-negotiable. You can have the best tools in the world, but if your team doesn't know how to use them, it's all for nothing.
It's like having a Ferrari and not knowing how to drag stick shift. All that power, but you're going nowhere fast.
Exactly. And it's not just about the initial training. It's about ongoing support and optimization. The report talks about the importance of measuring your results, analyzing the data, and making adjustments along the way.
So it's not a set it and forget it kind of thing. You've got to be constantly evaluating and tweaking your systems to make sure they're working for you.
And that's what separates those who truly succeed with automation from those who just buy a bunch of software and hope for the best. It's about having that deep understanding of the process, the tools, and the data.
Okay, so now I'm really curious about this future stuff the report talks about. AI getting even smarter, customer interactions becoming hyper-personalized. It almost sounds like science fiction.
It does, doesn't it? But it's the direction things are headed. And it raises a really important question for you as the listener. How do you position yourself to thrive in this evolving landscape? What aspects of this future vision pique your interest?
Yeah, what excites you? Are you fascinated by the possibilities of AI-powered personalization? Or maybe you're more intrigued by the potential of predictive analytics to, like, anticipate your customers' needs before they even know what they need. Figuring out what resonates with you, that's the first step in your own personalized automation journey. So I gotta admit, when we talk about this nonstop sales team thing, part of me worries it means we'll all be working 24/7 glued to our screens. But that's not really the goal here, is it?
No, not at all. It's actually quite the opposite. It's about creating a system that works so efficiently that you actually have more freedom and flexibility. Imagine being able to step away from your work knowing that things are still humming along in the background, generating leads, nurturing those customer relationships.
It's like having this invisible team working tirelessly behind the scenes, even while you're, I don't know, enjoying dinner with your family or finally getting some sleep. And what I find so interesting is how both the report and the online course really stress this idea of being intentional with your automation. It's not just about automating every single task for the sake of it.
Right. It's about taking a step back and really examining your sales process, figuring out where those bottlenecks are, those repetitive tasks that are eating up your time, the areas where, human error can sneak in, and then strategically using automation to streamline those areas.
I'm picturing this like flow chart of a sales funnel, and you're strategically placing these automation levers at just the right points to keep everything moving smoothly. But doesn't all this automation risk making sales feel impersonal? I mean, relationships are at the heart of sales, right?
That's such a valid point, and I think the key is finding that balance. Automation should never be about replacing human interaction altogether, but rather about enhancing it. Like, think about AI-powered personalization. It can help you tailor your communication to each individual customer, making them feel seen and understood.
So it's like using AI to create a more human experience, ironically enough.
Exactly. It's about using technology to free up your time and mental energy so you can focus on those high-touch interactions that build real, lasting relationships.
It's about working smarter, not harder. Which brings us back to that statistic we mentioned earlier. Only 34% of sales teams hitting their quotas. I wonder how many of those struggling teams are just bogged down by inefficient processes and a lack of automation.
It's definitely a contributing factor. Imagine if those teams could reclaim even a fraction of the time they spend on manual tasks and redirect that energy towards actually connecting with customers and closing deals. The impact could be huge.
It's like unlocking this hidden potential within these teams, allowing them to work at a whole new level of efficiency and effectiveness.
And here's the thing. These principles, they can be applied to businesses of all sizes. I mean, think about it. The report we're looking at focuses heavily on larger companies, right?
Yeah.
But then you have the online course, and that's clearly geared towards solopreneurs and small business owners.
That's a great point. It's almost like they're both saying, hey, this nonstop philosophy, it's not just for the big guys. It can work for anyone.
Exactly. Whether you're a solopreneur juggling a million tasks or a large company with a dedicated sales force, the underlying principles of efficiency, intentionality, and data-driven decision-making, they're universally applicable.
So it's not about the specific tools you use. It's about adopting this new mindset, a new way of approaching work and productivity.
It's about seeing technology not as a threat, but as this incredibly powerful partner that can help you achieve more, stress less, and ultimately live a more fulfilling life.
Okay, so now that we've laid the groundwork and really explored the why behind this whole nonstop sales team idea, I'm ready to get into the nitty-gritty of the how. What are some concrete steps our listeners can take to start putting these ideas into practice?
Well, the first step, and it might sound obvious, but it's crucial, is to really understand your current sales process. Take a deep dive into how things are currently working. Where are the bottlenecks? What are those tasks that are sucking up all your time and energy?
I imagine actually mapping out your entire workflow from that first point of contact with a potential customer all the way through to closing the deal and beyond could be incredibly helpful.
Absolutely. It's like creating this visual roadmap of your sales journey. And once you have that clear picture, then you can start pinpointing those specific areas that are ripe for automation.
Are there tasks that are super repetitive, places where mistakes are likely to happen? Any opportunities to personalize your communication at scale?
And the online course, it actually walks you through this entire process. It helps you map out your sales funnel, identify your key metrics, and really zero in on those areas where automation can make the biggest difference.
So it's like having a guide to show you the way, step by step. And I love that the course emphasizes starting small and then gradually building up your automation skills.
It's about building momentum and confidence. You don't have to become an automation expert overnight. Start by automating one or two small tasks, see the benefits, and then gradually expand from there.
It's like a choose-your-own-adventure approach to automation. Start with the basics and then level up as you go.
Exactly. And remember, there are so many resources available to help you along the way, from online courses and communities to consultants and software providers. You don't have to do this alone.
Speaking of software, let's talk tools. Because choosing the right tools is obviously a critical part of this whole process. And the PDF report, it really does a deep dive into the various automation technologies out there, from CRM systems and marketing automation platforms to AI-powered chatbots and predictive analytics. It's a lot to take in.
It can feel overwhelming, for sure. But the report does a great job of breaking it all down and providing a framework for making informed decisions.
Yeah, they provide this checklist of factors to consider when evaluating different tools, like ease of use, integration capabilities, pricing, and customer support. And they also emphasize how important it is to choose tools that can grow with your business. You don't want to get stuck with something that's too rigid or limiting.
Right. You want to make sure the tools you choose are flexible and scalable so they can adapt to your changing needs as your business grows.
It's like building a house with room to expand. You want to start with a solid foundation, but you also want to anticipate future growth. And as your automation capabilities mature, you can start exploring those more advanced techniques, using AI to personalize those customer interactions, predicting buying behavior, optimizing your sales process for maximum efficiency. The possibilities are pretty exciting.
Absolutely. And the beauty of it is that you can start small, experiment, and iterate your way to a system that works perfectly for you and your business.
So the key takeaway here is that automation isn't a one-size-fits-all solution. It's this ongoing journey of learning and improvement.
It's about embracing technology as your partner and using it to unlock your full potential.
I love that. Okay, so we've gone from the why to the how, and now I'm curious to explore the what next. What trends and emerging technologies are shaping the future of sales automation?
Well, that's a great question. The world of sales automation is constantly evolving. One trend that I'm particularly fascinated by is the growing role of artificial intelligence. AI is already being used in so many different ways, from lead scoring and routing to personalized content recommendations and those chatbot interactions we were talking about earlier.
And the report really dives into this, painting this picture of a future where AI is even more deeply integrated into the sales process. We're talking hyper-personalized customer experiences, AI-powered sales assistants that can handle routine tasks, and predictive analytics that can anticipate customer needs before they even know what they need.
It's definitely an exciting time to be in sales, but it's also a time of significant change and disruption. So it's more important than ever for salespeople to embrace continuous learning and really stay ahead of the curve.
I'm feeling a little behind already just thinking about it, so how do we even begin to prepare for this future?
The first step is cultivating this mindset of curiosity and adaptability. Be open to new ideas, experiment with different technologies, and never stop learning.
So it's not just about mastering the tools and techniques of today, it's about developing the skills and mindset that will allow you to thrive in a constantly changing environment.
Exactly. The future of sales belongs to those who are willing to embrace change, experiment, and constantly push the boundaries of what's possible.
Love that. Okay, so before we wrap up this part of our deep dive, I want to circle back to something both the report and the course emphasized. The importance of building a strong sales culture.
Yeah.
Because it's easy to get caught up in all the tech stuff and forget that, at the end of the day, sales is still about human connection.
Absolutely. We can't forget the human element. So how do we build a sales culture that embraces both technology and human connection?
That's the million-dollar question.
It starts with leadership. Sales leaders need to model that commitment to both innovation and empathy. They need to encourage their teams to experiment with new technologies while also fostering a culture of collaboration, support, and genuine care for the customer.
It's about finding that sweet spot where technology and humanity intersect.
Exactly. It's about creating an environment where salespeople feel empowered to leverage technology to enhance their skills, build stronger relationships, and ultimately deliver exceptional customer experiences. And that, I believe, is the essence of building a truly nonstop sales team.
All right, so we've talked about the why this idea of a nonstop sales team is so compelling. We've even touched on the bigger picture, like how this all ties into these huge societal shifts. But let's get practical. If someone's listening thinking, okay, sounds amazing, but where do I even start?
Yeah.
What guidance can we give them from what we've learned?
You know, it's funny because having both the report and the online course, it's like they each offer a different piece of the puzzle.
Oh, interesting. How so?
Well, the course is like your friendly guide, right?
Yeah.
It breaks down building this nonstop system into steps you can actually wrap your head around. Picking the right tools, figuring out which tasks should be automated. And then the part that really stood out to me, it was all about designing smart systems.
Yeah, that's where the rubber meets the road, isn't it? It's not just about throwing tech at the problem. It's about being strategic, intentional.
Exactly. And that's where the PDF report comes in. It dives into the nuts and bolts, the technical side of things, all those components we've been talking about, CRMs, how to automate lead distribution, analytics. It even gets into specific software options, which can feel overwhelming, but it's super valuable information.
I get that. It's like being handed this toolbox full of shiny new gadgets, but you're not quite sure which one you're supposed to use for what.
Right. And that's where the course's emphasis on following along really shines. They actually show you how to build these automations in real time, so it's not just theory, you're seeing it happen. It's almost like having an expert right there with you, guiding you every step of the way.
I bet that takes away a lot of the fear, especially for people who aren't, tech wizards or whatever.
Absolutely. It makes it so much more approachable. And here's what I find really cool. Both sources, even though they have these different approaches, they both agree on this. Start simple, grow advanced.
It's such a good message because it makes this whole concept way less intimidating.
Right. You don't have to become an automation guru overnight. Start with one small task, see the benefits, and then keep building from there.
It's about those little wins, those aha moments that keep you motivated.
Exactly. And speaking of aha moments, I got to tell you, that section in the PDF report about future trends, it kind of blew my mind. AI getting even smarter. Customer interactions becoming hyper-personalized. It felt like I was reading a sci-fi novel.
Oh, yeah. I remember that part. It makes you wonder what the world of sales will even look like in a few years.
Right. But here's what struck me. Those future trends, they all tie back to what we've been talking about this whole time. It's not just about the tech. It's about this shift in mindset. Efficiency, intentionality, using data to make smarter decisions. Those are skills that are only going to become more important as technology keeps advancing.
So it's not just about learning the tools of today. It's about developing this way of thinking that will prepare you for whatever comes next.
Exactly. It's like you're future-proofing yourself, you know?
Yeah.
And honestly, that's what I find so empowering about this whole conversation.
Me too. It's not just about sales. It's about this whole new way of working, a whole new way of thinking about productivity.
It's about taking control of your time, your energy, and ultimately your success.
Couldn't have said it better myself. And I think that's a perfect note to end on. We've covered a lot of ground today, haven't we? We explored the why behind this whole nonstop sales team idea. We dug into the how, the practical steps you can take to make it a reality. And we even took a peek into the future, exploring those emerging trends that are going to shape the world of sales in the years to come.
And through it all, we've seen how these principles of automation, intentionality, and data-driven decision-making, they're not just for businesses. They can be applied to any aspect of our lives where we're looking to work smarter and achieve more.
So whether you're leading a sales team, running your own business, or simply looking to level up your own productivity, remember this. The nonstop mindset isn't about working 24/7. It's about working smarter. It's about making conscious choices, leveraging the power of technology, and never stopping learning and growing.
Couldn't agree more.
So to all our listeners out there, we challenge you to embrace this mindset, experiment with new tools and strategies, and discover how you can unlock your full potential. Until next time, keep diving deep.
Thanks for tuning in to the Small Business Accelerator podcast.
We really hope today's strategies help you grow your business without breaking the bank.
Don't forget to check the show notes for links to resources we've handpicked for small business success.
If you found value in today's episode, it would make our day if you subscribed to the podcast and left us a review.
You can find us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you get your podcasts.
And stay tuned for our next episode. Next time, we'll reveal yet another game-changing strategy that's revolutionizing how small businesses on a shoestring budget take on giant corporations and accelerate their success.
Until then, keep accelerating your success.
This is Sarah Wilson.
And Roger Bryant, signing off.